What's good, everybody? It's your boy Rio West, and we back with some more Rio West gaming content. This time, first episode, EA Sports College Football 25 Dynasty Rebuild. It's been a long time coming. Been a long time coming. Been 11 years without the game. I used to get really involved in the whole Dynasty mode. Back then, uh, I didn't really play NCAA like that, like for a long time. I played it heavily until Madden came out, but once Madden came out, I stopped playing NCAA. But the purpose for me playing NCAA was for the draft classes, so I could have draft classes for Madden. I try to get at least like 8 draft classes for my Madden franchise, and at that time, I wasn't even playing Madden franchise mode online. It was just an offline dynasty. So I never even got a chance to use all those draft classes anyways. But once Madden would come out, I would put the game down and I wouldn't come back to the game. But after going 11 years without the game and having that itch to want to rebuild in a dynasty mode like I used to, uh I can promise I'm gonna go a lot further, and I'm gonna use this series as a purpose for me to continue going forward. And as far as the coach is concerned, normally when I'm picking a coach, whether it be Madden or something like College Football 25, I create a coach and I like to create like a former player. So a random former player. So going forward to start this one off, uh there was a couple players that I had in mind. Like I gathered the information, like former players or coaches that are assistant coaches now, or coach in the XFL or the UFL now, should I say. And finally I narrowed it down to Will Blackmon. So I'm gonna roll with Will Blackmon. Still young, 39 years old. Doesn't coach in real life, but again, that's my storyline. I have to come up with my own personal storylines to get me like driven to really go forward with it. So Will Blackmon is gonna be the head coach of Florida Atlantic University going forward. And yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna utilize him like the new Coach Prime, even though he ain't exactly as popular as Coach Prime was. But man, funny thing, while I'm create Will Blackmon in the game. Funny thing that I used to do with the old NCAA games, and I could bring that up now because there's so many limitations on editing and creating players and prospects and stuff like that. But funny thing I used to do back in the day with the NCAA games, whenever I would do a rebuild, I would do a rebuild with a 1-star team or a lower tier team. It would always be extremely difficult to be able to recruit any good prospects to come to my school. So what I would do was I would always create about 20 prospects. And then what I would do is I would create 10 prospects, legit straight up 5-star athletes. It wouldn't be 99s or nothing like that. They'd be like 84s, 85s. And I put them out there just so these other schools would be able to grab the players like that. But then what I would do to help benefit myself, now yeah, this is finessing and this is me getting over on the system. But what I would do is I would create players at the positions that I needed, like quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, offensive line, etc. So I would create one of each position if I could get all positions. And then what I would do is I get all the attributes like about the other prospects that I made, and then I would change their position to kicker. So they would be all kickers, and nobody would be recruiting these guys because they were like 60 something overall. So the whole year I'd be recruiting them, and I'd reel them in. And then at the end of the year, when the beginning of the next year coming, and you have the position changes, I would change them to their actual position, and boom, I would actually have some legit good prospects. So funny thing that I used to do back in the day around 2010, 2011, 12, back when NCAA was popping like that. But I could bring that up because you can't do that now anyways, and that wouldn't be something that I want to do now. That was something I did back then, back when I would try to exploit. I'm not in the exploit now, and with this game, with us being going 11 years without it, I just want to do everything right, and I just want to get into the whole grind, and enjoy the whole journey of the Dynasty mode. So we're gonna jump start the Florida Atlantic rebuild. Will Blackmon is the head coach, just signed on the dotted line. So now it's time to check out this whole recruiting process, because man, it looks really fascinating but difficult at the same time. Now I've watched a couple tutorials and people talking about the proper way to scout before actually getting into the whole scouting process myself, and it looks complex. I'll say that much. So with this being my first time, it's probably going to be a lot longer of a video than I want it to be. But I plan and anticipate each episode being about 15 to 20 minutes long, maybe. It just depends on the scouting process and me getting in and out of each week, showing you highlights from each game that I play, and different things like the top stories, award races, and things like that. So let's go ahead and jump into this whole scouting process or recruiting process, see what this is like. So I watched Bingle, and he mentioned that when you do the recruiting process, you want to go to your pipeline. So pipeline is going to be the first thing that I look up. And as a matter of fact, I forgot I got to check out these needs. So let's see. I need a quarterback. I got no seniors at quarterback, but I do need a quarterback. And we got a senior at running back, but it doesn't say I have a need there. 5 seniors at receiver. So even though it doesn't say I have any needs at receiver, which is confusing, if I got 5 seniors, then that's 5 people leaving. I'm gonna need to replace them. But okay. So this is what I got to work with. All right. Let's see. I need 2 guards, 2 tight ends. Let's see what we got. So first thing, what we gonna look at? Oh yeah, we gotta go back to pipelines. I guess it don't go straight back to the option you were on after you're done looking at your needs. So let me go back to pipelines, see what I got. Now I've heard that it's supposed to be extremely difficult to be able to recruit like 5 and 4 star athletes when you're a 1-star school. So I'm not so sure I want to mess with these 5 and 4 star athletes, but I may give it a try because they say it don't hurt, especially if you have like a deal breaker that's within their needs or what they ask for. So I might take a shot at a couple of these guys and see where we can go from there. Let's see. So, I definitely could use some scrambling QBs for sure. Can't never have too many scrambling QBs, especially with the way this game is, and that they say it's designed for the scrambling QBs. So can't go wrong with acquiring a couple scrambling QBs. One thing about me, now, you guys might not know, but the last 2 years I've actually documented both of my Madden rebuilds. Last year I had the Falcons. The year before that I had the Vikings. So I documented it, and I was supposed to do just like the same thing like I did here. I was supposed to do the episodes and then document them through my YouTube channel, but I never did. But if I did, and you saw those rebuilds that I had with the Vikings and the Falcons, you can see the way I play Madden. I go speed. I go speed at quarterback. I go speed at running back, receiver, cornerback, safeties, D ends, linebackers. You name it, I go speed. So I'm translating the same thing here with EA College Football 25, especially considering that the game's a lot faster and it's more predicated towards a scrambling QB and speed in general. So that same practice that I do in Madden, I'm gonna share that same practice here in College Football 25. So you're gonna see me looking for the scrambling quarterbacks. You're gonna see me looking for the deep threat receivers. You're gonna see me looking for the speed rushers, because that's what I like to acquire. I like to acquire speed. Speed kills. You can't do anything else with a player. You can do something with somebody with speed. Just get the ball in their hand or get them out in space. Do the little dump offs if you're a quarterback, etc. So I know I needed 5 receivers, so I'm definitely going to try to add as many receivers to my board as I can, and as many athletic quarterbacks as I can as well. Definitely want to add offensive line depth. Let's see. What else we got? Kind of trying to take my time with this because it's brand new. We haven't had this since 2014 or 2013. I'm sorry. It was NCAA 14, but it came out 2013. So we haven't had this game since 2013. And the recruiting process has been revamped. So trying to get adjusted to this, take my time, not jump into anything. I'm pretty sure with this being my first time, I'm probably still gonna mess something up here along the way, but it's cool. It's all about growing pains. So at this moment, I'm just trying to grab what looks like it would be helpful to me, and at the same time end up going to get prospects that seem like they're a little bit more within reach. So deep threat receivers. I can't go wrong with deep threat receivers. They might have low ratings on everything else, but if that speed there and you can blow by, just get the ball in the hands. Same thing with the running back. Get them out in open space. And it definitely would be more beneficial in this game because there's a lot of option plays, a lot of read option, speed option, load options, you name it. It's a lot more options. So I plan on playing this game different than how I play Madden, because Madden, I don't do none of that stuff. And Madden, I'm kind of used to the same playbook. I use the same playbook in Madden as far as offense is concerned for the last like 15 years. Every time, because my favorite team is the Cowboys. If you're watching for the first time, my favorite team is the Cowboys. So I've always, every year, use the Dallas Cowboys playbook, offensive playbook. So every year, I know what I'm getting out of that playbook. But with this being NCAA, this isn't NFL. I don't know anybody's playbook in here. So I just grabbed a random playbook. Matter of fact, the reason I end up picking the Nebraska playbook is because I saw one of the content creators I saw on their TikTok when they were doing the little work in progress beta that they were allowed to play. He was using Nebraska in a dynasty, and he used that double pass play. So I instantly picked Nebraska in hopes to have the double pass play. So I'm looking forward to using that if it's accessible to me. So, but if not, another reason that I picked the Nebraska playbook is because it's a pro style playbook. So anything that's a pro style that's closer to the NFL, I'm gonna stick to that. But please believe, if they got a bunch of option plays in there, I'm gonna utilize option plays. So center, offensive line. I'm definitely gonna make sure I acquire some offensive depth on this recruiting class. So I wanna build my offensive line. I wanna bring in the receivers since I'm losing so many. Definitely want to bring in quarterbacks because I don't know fully what I'm working with at quarterback. I haven't even really looked at my roster yet. I just knew that I was going to start my dynasty with Florida Atlantic. because backstory on me picking Florida Atlantic. Back in my NCAA days, I always picked Cal because I'm from Oakland, California, and the closest team towards Oakland is Cal. And although I don't really have a favorite college team, the one that I do support and I try to catch their games from time to time is Cal because they are closest to my birthplace, which is Oakland. So every time I play NCAA and I started the Dynasty, I always started with Cal. And it wasn't until like around 2009, 10, 11, stuff like that, where I actually started to get serious about the Dynasty mode. Because before, I would just pick Cal and I just play enough to get draft classes. I wasn't really like invested like say so. But then as I started getting more invested, I still would get Cal. But then towards the latter years, like 11, 12, 13, I wanted to take on the task of rebuilding a sorry team, rebuilding a lower tier team. So I was like, what team can I pick? What's a team that I don't really know like that seems like they're not really a top tier team? And I was scrolling through the teams and I landed on Florida Atlantic. I was like, okay, I like their color scheme. I like their uniforms. The logo's okay. I'm going to roll with Florida Atlantic. So I went from getting Cal to starting with Florida Atlantic the last few years of NCAA. And with it being gone for so long and with it just coming back, I figured instead of just jumping straight on a new lower tier team for old time's sake, I'll either start my dynasty with Cal or I'll start my dynasty with Florida Atlantic. And up until this game dropped, it took me a minute. Like I was really fighting myself trying to figure out who I was going to start my dynasty with. I wanted to do it with Cal. I wanted to do it with Cal desperately. But I also really wanted to do it with Florida Atlantic because Florida Atlantic is more of a rebuild worthy team than Cal is. Even though Cal isn't ever really competing for nothing, they're still considered more of a top tier team. Not top tier, but a premier team, should I say. So I was like weighing back and forth, which one. So then ultimately what the decision was that I came down to was I can start my rebuild with Florida Atlantic and do my road to glory with Cal. So that's how we ended up here. That's how I ended up with Florida Atlantic. Next college football, I may switch it up. I don't know, because I'm kind of low-key a fan of Florida Atlantic through the video game. I can't say that in real life. But through the video game, I'm kind of a fan of Florida Atlantic because of all the times that I've started a dynasty with them. So I could just continue using Florida Atlantic going forward, or I may switch it up and try somebody else. Y'all let me know in the comments section. Going forward in future college football games, would you like to see me continue to do rebuilds on Florida Atlantic or switch it up and do other lower tier teams? But back on topic with this recruiting, because I'm getting all discombobulated. I need to be focused on who I'm adding to my board and exactly the whole process with it all being brand new right now. So we got about 32 out of the 35 targets that we need. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple more. Cornerback is a feasible enough position. I don't know. Have I added safety yet? I added a couple safeties, but could always add a couple more. Let's see what we got. Might not be in my best interest to keep adding all these four-star players, but we're gonna see how it pan out. Again, it's gonna be a long season. I might fly through it pretty quick though. It's been a long time. I might fly through this pretty quick. I don't mean this whole recruiting process right now. I'm talking about the season. I might fly through the season pretty quick. We're gonna see though. So all right, so I'm at the 34 out of the 35. Need one more player. Add one more player to my board. Then I gotta go see the process, what I can do right now, what I may have to wait on to do. Let's see what I'm doing. All right. screw it. Let's add another 4-star. All right, let's check it out. See what our recruit board looks like. All right, this is what we're looking like. This guy, Dexter, looking like he might be a long shot. His recruit, he looked like he got a lot of people chasing after him already. But it seems like even though a lot of these guys, or at least the first couple guys that I've seen, have gotten people already on them, it looks like nobody's really offered them a scholarship yet. So that's another thing that Bingle was saying in his video, was that if nobody else is offering a scholarship, you get out ahead of them, you offer the scholarship. So that's what I'm probably gonna start doing here, is dishing out these scholarships and seeing, once we advance, how much of an impact that has on their influence, or how much of an influence it has on the recruit and their decision. So go ahead and start divvying out some of these scholarships. I like the whole visualization of when you offer them the scholarship and showing the handshake. That's so dope. Man, they really made it really deep and really complex this year, the whole recruit process. I like it. I'm hoping going forward in the future that the same amount of time and energy they invested in the whole recruiting process, they invest in the rest of the dynasty. Now, I'm not saying dynasty isn't like in depth. It's got some depth to it, but the most depth to dynasty right now is the recruiting process. At least from what I've seen in the little videos that I've seen from the creators that got a chance to play the beta before the game actually released. So the game still looks great. Again, it's great to have the game back, but going forward, if they show the same amount of attention to the rest of the dynasty that they showed to the recruiting process, this game could be major. It's already major right now, if you ask my opinion, because this is really good work right here. This is really good work. Now, this could be me just being super excited because I've gone 11 years without this game. The last time I had this game, I was in my early 20s, my mid 20s. And now here I am in my mid to late 30s, and I'm still going to enjoy the hell out of this game. Please believe it. So, again, we just going through and we offering scholarships to the people that I feel like it'll most impact. It looks like we can't do anything else at this point but offer scholarships. I guess once we advance to the following week, they'll let us do more. They'll let us do actions. I don't know. The only person I really focused on the video was Bingle, and he didn't necessarily say like that you had to advance from this point to get to the next week to actually do any actions. At least I can't remember. But then again, he was probably talking so fast and advancing so quickly that he probably did it and didn't even realize it. So I don't want to use up all my recruiting hours. Am I supposed to use up all my recruiting hours? I'm not sure. Am I supposed to give out all of these scholarships? Like, what exactly is the point? Like, I don't want to leave something undone. Like, I'd like to advance, but I see on the recruiting, it says that the box isn't checked. Now, I'm sure I probably can advance, but I don't want to leave something on the table. Like, if I advance right now, am I wasting hours? Or if I use the hours now, am I going to get more hours the next week? See, these are the things that I don't know. That's why I want to take my time before I advance. Again, I want to keep these episodes of this Dynasty Rebuild about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 25, 30 tops. But 15 to 20 minutes, I want to keep on about 15 to 20 minutes. But this episode is probably going to be the longest because this is my first time and my first chance at experiencing the whole recruiting process and the new dynasty of college football 25. So I want to take our time. But I guess I can go ahead and offer more scholarships. Like, if I offer the total of 35 scholarships, if eventually somebody looks like they're not gonna come to my team, can I take that scholarship back? How does that work? I don't know. Do I offer all the scholarships? Do I only offer a few scholarships in advance? Do I use up these hours? These are the things that need answers that I don't know. But I'm gonna gradually take my time throughout this process and see. So let's see. Power back. See, like what I like to do when I as far as running backs is concerned, I do like to have a speed back. I do like to have an elusive back, but I also like to have a bruiser at running back as well, like a lightning and thunder. I like to have that combination. But as far as my receivers is concerned, I just need speed. That's all I need at receiver. I don't care if the receiver is a big body catcher. Now this year that might change in Madden. As you all know, if you've been following this channel and you see my videos talking about the beta for Madden 25 with the whole one-handed aggressive catches and the spectacular catches, I might start leaning more towards receivers that's big body, that spectacular catch, and things of that nature. I'm not saying I'll go fully that direction, but I may grab a receiver or two that is like that. So anytime I need an instance where he's in tight coverage, I could just throw it up to him and then do the aggressive catch. So I don't know. I might consider that. But as far as college football 25 is concerned, that's a no-go. Let's see. Right tackle. Kiki. Ohalete, is that his name? Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know. These random generated names. No, in the past, I would get so irritated with random generated players. Even now, playing Madden, I will not play Madden with a computer generated draft class. I can't stand it. It's got to be like realistic. It's got to be real players. But what I will say is I'm going to make my draft classes in Madden specifically using college football 25 as a template. So I'll start having generic players in Madden, but they're going to come from college football 25 because I'm going to basically import them from 25, from college football 25 to Madden 25, but create them. But even though they're going to be computer generated players that I recreate, if you're following this series, you're going to know these players. So you're going to see these players. You're going to see how they play when I face off against them. You're going to see where they rank amongst the best players in college football. And if you play in my league or if you download my draft classes in Madden, you're going to know who these players are and what they're like. So if you follow this series, good for you. If you don't follow this series and you happen to come across my draft classes in Madden, and you're like, these aren't even real players, but you'd have to get down to really like the 4th, 5th, 6th draft class before you start seeing players like that. But you wouldn't understand because you haven't been following this series. So if you follow this series, keep up with this series because you'll know who these players are and you know how they play. But yeah, so check out some of the different tabs they got going on here. Check out what the different things under my school. It's like playing style is a measure of how well a specific recruit will fit what you do. So what stats your team produce, how those stats align with the recruit's archetype, increase your team's stats to attract certain archetypes. Interesting. Championship contender. How likely your school is to win a championship? Program tradition ranks. Okay. So right now, what it looks like, is we're ranked pretty poorly in a lot of these categories. But it's a process. Again. That's the beauty of a rebuild of a sorry team. That's why I can't understand why people will want to get top tier teams for their dynasty mode. Some people I might can understand because your favorite team might be Alabama, your favorite team might be a Georgia, USC, or whatever. So, okay, I get it. But even with my favorite team, like with Madden, when I do my online league, my favorite team is the Cowboys, but I never pick the Cowboys when I do my online league. I always pick a sorry team at the bottom so that I could build them up. Because it feels much greater to take a sorry team, develop the players, develop them into a powerhouse team, and seeing them succeed over time. So especially with college, when you get recruits in it, because then you're turning your program around. As you can see, I'm ranked poor in a lot of these categories, except for like the proximity to home and all of this stuff like that. So it's gonna be a process. I gotta build this organization. I gotta build this university up, build them into a contender. So maybe possibly down the line in the future, I might can switch conferences. Maybe go to the SEC, maybe go to the ACC. Who knows? That's definitely in the plan. And I might possibly go take another coaching job, but we're talking like years down the line. Maybe after about like eight to 10 years with this, I got to build this university up. Because once you build a university up, it's hard to just abandon that university, you know? So I'm still stuck on these scholarships and leaving these scholarships and these hours on the table. Like, do I leave all this on the table, or do I just advance without it? What do I do? Because see, the box is unchecked. Shouldn't it be checked before I advance? All right, the best part about the game, the custom schedule. Now, I know normally when I pick a sorry team, I'm in a sorry conference, but I always throw at least 2 to 3 out of conference games in there. And my vision for Florida Atlantic is my out of conference games. I wanted them to be all Florida teams. I wanted them to be Florida. I wanted them to be Florida State. I wanted them to be Miami University. So that was my vision. If I could make that come true, I'm going to definitely do that. I definitely want to make sure I get Florida on the board, though. Florida is a top target that I want to play. Now, if I could get both Miami and Florida State, we'll see. But this was always one of my favorite parts about NCAA is the custom schedule. Matter of fact, it brings me back to Madden back in the day, like 04, 05, 06. Back when, now you couldn't make a custom schedule, but every after the first year, every year after that, you could create a custom preseason schedule. And I always liked that about those Maddens, and I hated the fact that they took that out of Madden. So I hope one day they put that back. Now I do know the last Madden or two, even though you can't create it, every preseason your opponents switch up, so you're not playing the same people every year like you were doing the prior Maddens. But so let's see. Can I get Florida and Miami on my schedule? It all depends on who they're playing what week. I don't want to move Michigan because, again, I want to play as many high-profile teams as I can, because when you play in a poor conference, you can go undefeated and still won't be in position to make the playoff. Well, it might be a little different this year now because you have 12 teams, but I'm still trying to figure out how all that works too. Like, is it just the top 12 teams ranked overall, or does your winning your conference mean a thing, or what? So I don't know. Only time will tell. We'll see. So I got to get Florida on the schedule though, and right now it's looking like this is the best spot to get Florida at. It's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add Florida and see if I can get either Miami or Florida State. And I guess in the spot of UConn, I didn't really want to take UConn out, but if I got to take UConn out to put a Miami or Florida State, then I'll definitely do that. But it's looking like that's the only other option, because all these other games looking like conference games, except for Michigan State. So the play looks like it's probably most likely gonna be swapping out UConn. Yeah. We'll go ahead and swap out UConn. See who's available. ACC, is it gonna be Florida State or Miami? I don't see Florida State, so it's looking like Miami is the play for this one. Yeah, we'll go with Miami. I think that's gonna round out my schedule. I don't think there's much more I can do. So we'll roll with this. I predict I can probably go 5-7 again. I'm gonna at least shoot for 7-5. I'd like to be better than what their previous record was, but with it being a new game that they just bringing back and how difficult it allegedly is, I'm not sure. So I'd like to get to 7-5. If we could at least get to 5-7, cool. So let's see. I got 5 dev points for my coach. How do you use these things? How does this work? Do I buy one of these that's locked, or do I have to click on the one that's open? Strategist, tactician, architect, motivator. I guess I gotta pick on the one that's open because that's the one I originally built, should I say. So, okay, the offensive coordinator, the scheme guru. Interesting. I'll have to revisit that stuff. So, it's still irking my nerves, this whole recruiting thing. And the box not being checked. It's making me feel like I still have a task left to complete before I advance the week. So, this is the top 25. Let's see what I'm looking at. Hopefully, I can creep in there. We're going to see. It's year one. I don't really expect too much. So, as long as I can progress and get good recruits, I'll be cool with that. That's the best part about the journey, is starting off low and progressively getting better each year and getting better talent prospects year in and year out. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Okay, so Coach XP goes. We got players drafted in round 1. So as the draft goes, players drafted in round 1, you get 500. Round 2, you get 300. Round 3, you get 200. Round 4, you get 175. Round 5, you get 150. Round 6, 75. 7, you get 50. And this game goes first downs, fumbles recovered, blah, blah, blah. A lot of this looks like stuff I should easily be able to obtain during the game. Then you got like end of season rewards and stuff like that. Intriguing. All right. Recruiting goals. Sign a prospect, sign a 3-star prospect, sign a 5-star prospect. Okay. That goes. Cool. Stuff all looks achievable. Scheme and playbook. Just to make sure I still have my scheme and playbook. Yep, Nebraska pro style. Cool. Good deal. All right. I think it's about time to advance. But again, why is this box not checked? Do I have to give out all of these scholarships right now? Can I not wait? Like, that's my thing. I don't know if this is gonna be an issue. Like, if I advance and leave that on the table, am I gonna lose that? I don't know. Again, it's trial and error. This is learning experience right now. I guess we'll see. I guess I'll just go ahead and offer all these scholarships. Hopefully I could take some back if I don't need them, but I'm going to go ahead and offer all of them to see if that'll go ahead and check that box off. Let's see. Steven Katz. Pleasure doing business with you. Muhammad Ibarra. Pleasure doing business with you as well. I don't like that I can't make any contact this week. I guess it's just part of the process. I guess I just gotta wait till the following week. Josh Moore, pleasure doing business. Even though we didn't really do any business, I just offered you. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. so I got what, 8 more scholarships to offer out, and then we'll see if that box is checked. Hopefully, I don't regret any of this, doing all this at once. Feeney Orlando. Some of these names are wild. I can't even lie. I sure did offer out a whole lot of scholarships to a lot of 4-star, 3-star players. All right, so the video's been long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and advance. We're gonna jump into the following week on the next episode, episode 2. So I appreciate y'all tuning in for this. Stay tuned to see what happens on the next episode of the Rio West Gaming Dynasty Rebuild of the Florida Atlantic University Owls. Appreciate y'all for tuning in again. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And stay on the lookout for more content. Peace.